Hi and welcome to the Demystifying Mental Toughness podcast for athletes, coaches and professionals who want to achieve their goals faster. I'm David Charlton and I'll be sharing proven methods from leading athletes, coaches and experts that will help you get the most from your talent. Today's show is sponsored by Functional Intelligent Training, who are a sports injury clinic located in Gosforth near Newcastle upon Tyne and specialise in athlete development, nurturing future champions, strength and conditioning support and excellent rehabilitation services. I'm excited to be joined by a Team GB powerlifter and ambassador for the Sports Business Club. Someone who goes on to share her enlightening journey into powerlifting. We discuss the importance of confidence, the belief in your ability, especially in times when she was presented with challenges. We also talk about the commitment levels required to succeed at an elite level, as well as tapping into her expertise as a personal trainer and some of the body confidence challenges that both men and women face and can experience. So today I'm joined by Natalie Hurdley. Do you want to tell the listeners how you got into powerlifting?
Sure. A couple of years ago, I tore my ankle ligaments. And it was a case of either don't train at all or find a new way of training. And I got into weightlifting, but for upper body only. I'd always lifted weights, but more in a sort of circuit capacity rather than weightlifting or bodybuilding style or anything like that. It was more of a circuit, just a health and conditioning thing rather than a strength thing. And then obviously my upper body started to get stronger and stronger because I couldn't train my legs. And I did it for mental health, really. I've always exercised. I've always trained. So when I don't, I really find it difficult to concentrate and my mental health does start to dip. So I decided to just sit on the machines and do some weights. And then when my ankle started to heal, I started to look at doing some seated leg work. And then the sports massage therapist that I was seeing told me I was allowed to do deadlifting. And I'd never deadlifted before, ever. I'd never deadlifted for in a class or in general training. I'd just never done it. It was never part of my arsenal. And then I started to do that and I could really feel the benefits. I could feel my ankle getting stronger. I could feel it getting challenged, but I could also feel the benefit for the rest of my body. Deadlift, by the way, is my worst lift. I hate deadlifting. But it's also my strongest lift. It's the one I can lift the most weight on. And about a year after that, I was in another gym and this old guy comes up to me and he just says, "How you doing? I can see that you're really into your lifting. I would love it if you'd come and do some training with me and my guys." And I looked over and there was a group of them all training. I think there was about 12 of them all together. And I looked and I smiled and I was like, "I'm okay, thank you. I like training on my own." And that's it. He walked off. And then about a month later, he came back and he was like, "You're really good at lifting. I really think you should come and join us. Give it a go." And I was like, "No, I'm all right. I'm okay, thank you." And then I would say hello to him in the gym and just have a bit of chit chat with him in the gym. And then one of the other personal trainers came over to me and he went, "You do know that's a Team GB coach, don't you?" I was like, "No, I had no idea who he was. Not a clue." Then they disappeared for about 2 weeks. Didn't think anything of it, just thought they'd gone on holiday. And when they come back, he asked me again. He said, "We've just come back from the European Championships. We've just been winning trophies. Are you sure you don't want to join us?" And I was like, I'm not strong. I'm not powerful. This is just a hobby. And he was like, "Okay," left. Months later, this was the August, he said, the British Championships are coming up in a couple of weeks. Why don't you come and watch? And I was like, I don't mind, actually. I enjoy sport and I enjoy the atmosphere of live sport. So I decided to go along, and he said to me, he said, I don't understand you. He said, you've represented your town for a sport, you've represented your county for a sport, but you won't represent your country. And I just laughed. I was like, I'm not powerful. I can't be a power lifter. Like, that's ridiculous. And then I said, I'm too old for this. I'm too old to start a new sport. And he said, well, actually, most champions start to win trophies in their 50s. So you're actually just a baby in this sport. And I was like, yeah, but I'm still not strong or powerful. I watched the competition. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the atmosphere. And what I found really strange about it is it was a very competitive environment, but it was also an environment where everybody you competed against cheered you on, which I found really odd, because I grew up in football, and as most people know, your opposing fans just boo you or heckle you, or, you know, they've got their chants and everything. And this was just not like that at all. And I really liked that about it. And then he said to me, you're a really good lifter without a coach. Imagine what you could do if you had a coach. And then I was like, right, I'm going to take 2 weeks off training. My body needs a rest. It's my birthday. I'll give it a go, because you're only going to come and keep asking me, so I'll give it a go. And he went, yeah, I am going to come and keep asking you. So September the 2nd, I started training with the team, and a week later, I just fell in love with it. And I loved the fact that even as a personal trainer, I was learning so much every single day with them. I was learning things about my body. I was learning things about technique. I was learning things about positioning, things that you would imagine I would have known, but I just didn't. And then when I started to apply his coaching to my own body, things just clicked. And then I started to then train my clients with some things that he taught me. And I saw their positioning and their technique and their strength and their bodies start to change as well. And I just absolutely loved it. And I never left.
It goes to show the power of support as well, and coaching in that way.
Yes, absolutely. I think a support network in every area of life is very important.
And do you have any regrets now that you took your time to get into the sport?
No, I don't really. I think I entered the sport at the right time for me, because it's a sport where you have to accept that you're going to spend long periods of time with what looks like no progression at all, which can be really frustrating. And I entered it at a time where I believe my body was at the right stage to progress. And fortunately, I mean, it's been a year and a bit. So this September coming, it'll be 2 years that I've been doing it. And my body has continued to progress strength-wise all the way through that period, which is quite rare for somebody in my sport.
That must be quite a nice feeling as well, to see that gradual progression as well, and notice your body changing, you getting stronger and lifting heavier weights.
It's amazing. And I can't help but think, when is my plateau going to come? But I'm also a big believer in not worrying about what I can't change and the law of attraction. So I'm like, if I keep thinking about it, it's going to come sooner. So just don't think about it.
True, you can't control it, can you? All you can control is what you put into each and every session.
Yeah, and I'm fully aware of the science behind it, and I'm fully aware that eventually it's just going to be a natural course that my body has to take, whether that's whether that's going to be through repair, recovery, a different type of growth. I'll only know when it happens.
What are the commitment levels that are required then to keep on progressing? Do you want to, I suppose, do you want to describe how you've gone about things over the last couple of years?
Yeah, so we train 4 days a week. We train bench press, chest, triceps and abs on a Monday. Then on a Tuesday, our main lift is deadlift, and we do deadlift, block pulls, upper back work, lower back work, and biceps. Then Wednesday, we have rest day. Thursday is what we call top bench, which is where you bench off a block that's on your chest, so it's not as deep. And then the rest of the workout is shoulders and abs. And then on Friday, our main lift is back squat, and then it's just leg day. So Friday is a killer. And then Saturday and Sunday, you just can't walk properly. So Saturday, Sunday is all about rest. For me, Wednesday and Saturday, I do active recovery work, which is where I get my cardio in. So I do a little bit of cardio. I do nothing crazy. I do a lot of stretching and a lot of mobility work on those 2 days, and then Sundays complete rest day. And then obviously you've got the nutritional commitment side, which is a massive learning curve, because I know how to eat healthy for my body and I know how to eat before and after a workout. But what's interesting with powerlifting is, in an ideal world, you'll actually go through probably 3 weight cycles in a 14-week period, which can do a lot of damage to your mental health if you are one of these people who obsesses over the scales. And I'll explain what I mean. So during our training period leading up to a competition, they want you to train at your heaviest. So you put weight on, they're fine with it. They're like train, eat, sleep, train, eat, sleep, pile the calories in, because you need to fuel your workout. You need the strength to fuel your workout, so pile the calories in. And they don't care what calories that is, and then it's up to you then to go, well, actually, for my internal health, I care what kind of calories that is. And then the last week before the competition, you need to get into your weight category. So they want you to drop weight, and they want you to drop as much as possible in 5 days. Now, you don't have to drop that much necessarily. It depends what weight class you want to go into, and it depends how much weight you've put on through your training. But they want you to drop as much weight as possible because it gives you the advantage. Then on the 24 hours before we compete, we get weighed, and they want you to weigh in at your lightest. But then over the 24-hour period, they want you to eat as much as possible and put on as much weight as possible for the competition. So you've got 24 hours to eat like a pig, pile the weight back on, and use it to your advantage. Again, it can be quite unhealthy, but it depends. It kind of depends how you as an individual take it. For me, what I will do is I will, like I said, even though I'm allowed to just pile the calories in, I'm still very mindful of what's going on with my organs and the inside of my body and my health in that regard. So I don't overdo it on that side. And I'm also very mindful that I don't want to have too big of a weight drop. I don't want to put myself under that much pressure. So I don't tend to put on that much weight during the training because of that. And then in the 24 hours where you're allowed to eat what you want, I just treat that like a cheat day, the ultimate cheat day. And I do it. I don't do it for the competition necessarily. I do it for the enjoyment because I like my food.
So you'll have plenty of nice little treats and sweets and puddings and stuff like that.
Yeah, the Saturday, the day before the competition is usually a Saturday, and it is the best day ever.
Brilliant. I can imagine though the whole dropping weight and changing weight there. It must it must be quite taxing mentally for some people.
Yeah, I do think if you're gonna do it that way, you have to have some sort of strength mentally, and definitely no sort of history of an eating disorder or anything like that. And if somebody was thinking about going into the sport, or somebody wanted to go into the sport, I would tell them to really think about whether they want to actually use that technique or not. It's not something that my coach has ever forced upon me. But again, because of my job and because of my background, I'm really into the science. So when he first told me about it, I was like, okay, but why? But why? I'm really, really sure I annoyed him a lot with all my questions. But it was really important for me to understand why I was going to put my body through this and whether it was going to be worth it before I did it. And I do it, but I do it in a very subtle way. And I train with some people who take it to extremes, but mentally it works for them. So they do it that way, and I decided not to.
Yeah, I suppose everybody's different, aren't they, in that way. I would have thought, like, over the years, probably going into the past, it may have harmed and may have damaged people with the mindset. But I mean, now, I suppose nowadays there's more coverage, isn't there, around mental health and different things like that.
Oh, and it's what's really important is that you find, if you are going to go into something like that, even if it's for amateur or if it's just for a hobby, find a coach that's going to support you and respect your decision if you decide not to go down that route. Because my coach is fantastic like that. He will tell me something and I'll question it. And I won't question it because I don't believe him. I'll question it because I want to understand it, because that's what I enjoy. And I find it really fascinating. So he'll explain it to me and then I'll go, well, actually, I don't think that's good. I don't think that's going to be good for me because of X, Y, Z. And he'll go, okay, no problem. And he'll work with me around that. He's very supportive and I respect him for that massively.
I suppose that's a skill that you've got there. Some people maybe haven't quite got that skill in terms of actually asking the questions, and it might harm them going forward. Something for the listeners to chew over and think about.
Yeah, I think it helps that I've got quite a strong mind and I'm quite independent, and I do understand some people will definitely kind of feel the pressure to just do as they're told without thinking about it and then come unstuck somewhere. But definitely don't be afraid to question it, because it's your body at the end of the day and it's the only body you're ever going to have. So look after it.
Definitely, no doubt about it. How do you find the rest and recovery then? Do you enjoy that, or do you find that challenging at times?
So there's certain parts of the training cycle where I absolutely can't wait for recovery day. I'm like, oh my God, come on Wednesday, hurry up. And then there's certain parts of it where my body is probably in peak condition. And I'm like, I don't really want to just sit down and rest today. So that's where I'll go and do a little bit of light cardio. But I'm also aware that even if I feel strong and I feel really good, I have to take that time off, because my body absolutely has to have time to repair and recover. Otherwise, it's just not going to perform. It's not possible for it to perform. But we have to have a week off. Tuesday to the Saturday, we have to have off before the competition on the Sunday. So we train on the Monday, and then we're not allowed to train at all then until competition day. We have to have the week off. And we're not supposed to do anything. We're not supposed to go walking. We're not supposed to swim. We're not supposed to do anything that week. The only thing we're allowed to do on the Tuesday is have a massage, and that's it. We're not allowed to do anything else, because that is the way that we recover ready for the intensity that's coming on the competition day.
So where you say you're not allowed, it's that's the advice that you're giving.
Yeah. So I, like I said before, I train for my mental health as much as anything, and that's the hardest week for me, because it's the week you're trying to drop weight. It's the week you're trying to eat less because you're trying to get into your weight category. It's the week you have got to move as little as possible. And the best way to recover and the best way to get through that is to just sleep as much as you can. And then, obviously the other thing that you miss is the social aspect of training with your team, the routine and the discipline of turning up on time every day, training with your team, having a bit of banter with them. You don't have that at all. So that is the hardest week overall for me.
Yeah, I can see how you could like get in your own head a little bit during that week and in the build up to the competition, and I don't know, question yourself and things like that.
Yeah, there's a lot, there's a lot, there's a lot of ways that you can kind of deal with. There's a lot of ways you can look at it. And I think when you're actually training, you can distract yourself from the numbers that you're trying to achieve, because you're like, there's your training plan, stick to it, don't deviate, go. And that's it. So those are the numbers you have to think about, the ones that are right in front of you. But then when you've got that week off, you're thinking, well, what if this and what if this? But that's not something I've ever fallen into, because I'm not that sort of person. I'm not the sort of person who kind of dwells on what if situations. I'm just like, do you know what? I've done everything I can do now. All I've got to do now is make sure I'm rested and my body is in the best shape it can be, ready for the weigh-in, and that I can't do anything else about it. So I've just got to focus on getting on the scales and recovery now. That's it.
Yeah, no, I like that approach. It sounds good. I suppose it'll be the training, I bet, where there'll be days when your body's feeling like as if it's been hammered, and where weights just feel ridiculously heavy, I bet.
Yeah, and you do get days like that. You get days where really light weights feel impossible to move. But then you'll get the opposite, where you'll go up to a weight that you've never lifted before and it just flies up. And you're like, oh, how did that happen? And it's just because you've put all the background work in. We're on a 14-week training cycle usually, and the work that you put in at the beginning of that reflects the work that you're going to be able to achieve at the end of that, which reflects your competition results.
Yeah, the way you describe it sounds like, in effect, the way the sport's built, you're going to be doing like lots of regular, like boring things, if you like, just over and over and again. But you're building all of the time, and so it's very different to some other sports.
Yeah, it's very repetitive, like definitely very repetitive, and I think that's where the social and the team aspect really, really stops it from becoming boring. Because in terms of actual exercises, doesn't change. We have exactly the same exercise program for the whole 14 weeks. What changes is the weights that you're going to be lifting. And it's quite an interesting way that they do it. So your first 4 weeks, you're on your maintenance plan. So you've had a week off after you've competed. Then you go on to a 4-week maintenance training plan, which is basically 70% of your best lift at the competition, but it's high volume. So it's all about muscular endurance rather than muscular strength. And then you get 4 weeks. Those 4 weeks are the worst 4 weeks ever. I hate them with an absolute passion. Those are the 4 weeks I just do not want to go. I don't want to go. I have a tantrum pretty much every day, and my coach just tells me to shut up and go on with it. And then after the 4 weeks, we go into what we call a build-up. So a build-up is where every single time you go to a training session, your numbers go up and you hit a personal best every single day you train, you hit a personal best for the next 8 weeks.
Wow.
Which is the best thing, is the best feeling ever, because as a personal trainer, I, tell people that it's a very slow process. You've got to appreciate that you're not going to hit a personal best every single week. But then in what we do, a massive part of the training program is that you hit a personal best every single day for 8 weeks, which is crazy, but it actually works.
It's mind-blowing, that is. But yeah, it must be such a fantastic feeling when you go through that.
You get such a rush from it. And I remember the first time I completed a full training plan, I looked at it, I was like, this is ridiculous. This isn't going to work. My body's not going to be able to handle this. And it just did. And it's because I did the work. If you put in that work on those first 4 weeks, the 8 weeks will work, provided you're just doing what you're supposed to be doing. Provided you're sticking to the plan, it will work. And to do that properly, you've got to trust your coach.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. So yeah, I think you got the words better than me, right? Well, better than certainly mine when I mentioned the word boring. Yeah, repetitive is definitely the way there. And yeah, I think whether you're in another sport or business life, I think we can all learn from what some of the things that you've been mentioning there.
Yeah.
Out of interest, in terms of you're a personal trainer as well. You'll have clients who are perhaps a little bit body conscious, self-conscious. Do you want to share some of those experiences and maybe some of the things that you've learned from your powerlifting and how you help them?
Sure. So I've been a personal trainer for over 15 years now. So I've worked with many people, many shapes and sizes, many goals, many backgrounds. And I do work with a lot of self-conscious people. And most people don't believe me when they ask me what my training's like. When I tell them what I do, they just look at me and they're like, well, how can that be? Because I think the majority of people expect me to be quite butch, or they expect me to be chunky. They expect me to be quite a lot bigger than what I am in some way or form. So I think a lot of it, especially from a woman's point of view, is because I look the way that I do, it kind of helps them a little bit. So what I mean by that is I think I look like just a regular person. I don't think I look like an athlete, really. I'm not shredded. I don't have a six pack. And that's not important to me. And especially with like social media, you've got all these fitness professionals flaunting their bodies, and regular people aren't attracted to that. They're put off by it. They're like, I don't want this person who looks like a fitness model to be judging me, even though that's not our job. That's what people think. And then on the flip side, if I was this really muscly, butch, athlete-looking woman, that would probably put people off as well, because I'd probably look a lot more intimidating. And it's very rare that I train and I got my belly out. But if I do, because it's a hot day, or I've finished training and I've just getting changed into a clean t-shirt or something, I have had people comment and say it's really nice, it's really refreshing to know that in your profession and the fact that you compete, you just look like a regular person. And I think that's really important, because I think it's helped my business loads. I really do.
Yeah, people are so impressionable, aren't they? And all you see in social media and magazines and stuff like that is the pictures of the glamorous people in that way, which goes on to have a huge impact, especially on youngsters these days.
Yeah, and I think what's really important is most people just want to be fitter and healthier. The rest of it is kind of a byproduct. And what people have got to remember, and what I think part of my job is to remind them that a person with a six-pack isn't fitness. That does not equal fitness. You know, a woman, especially with very low body fat, is probably quite unhealthy. And on the flip side, a woman who is very muscular is probably not very healthy either. Same with the men. You've got the strong men who are quite big, who are carrying around a lot of body fat because body fat helps us move weight. They're strong, but they're probably not that fit and healthy. And then the guys who are flaunting their six packs, potentially you can say the same about them as well. And you know, the regular person, that they're not after that. They're just kind of, I don't know, being told that that's what fitness is, and it isn't. Fitness isn't a six pack.
Yeah, no, that's true. Well, I suppose it comes in all different forms, doesn't it? Whether it's competition, whether the people competing by yourself to getting faster, stronger, whatever it is. A different sort of question now then for you. Who's been the biggest influence on your career as a trainer, or certainly going into the weightlifting, powerlifting there, and why?
So I think from a sporting perspective, the biggest influence was probably my dad, because I only ever remember him being involved in my sport. My mom is a massive part of my life, and she was always very supportive, but sports was my dad's area. So I'd say my dad for sure, growing up. And then there's different fitness professionals that I kind of have admired from a professional standpoint, Pete. But it's never really been like famous people. It's just been people that I've ended up working around or working in the same space of and gone, I really respect that person because of X, Y, Z. And then from a powerlifter's perspective, my coach and his wife are hugely inspirational to me, both of them. And we were having a chat before, and on the majority of the days I watch them and I just think, wow, what they're achieving is incredible, and I love them both so much. But then there's the odd day where, you know, you're just not feeling it yourself, and you watch them and you're just like, oh, this is really frustrating to watch, because they've been doing it a lot longer than me, and they're a lot stronger than I am. And then from a public figure's perspective, somebody who I really admire, but I've only come to really watch her over the past few years, is a woman called Tia Claire Toomey, who is the world's fittest woman, and she's won the CrossFit World Championships 3 or 4 years in a row. And I watch her quite a lot. And it's only been probably the past 2.5 years, no, probably 2 years, that I've started to watch her and study a bit about her. And I read her book last year. And from a kind of public figure perspective, I admire her massively. She's fantastic.
What sort of qualities has she got?
Well, she started off in Olympic weightlifting, so she did represent Australia in the Olympics in weightlifting. But then she went from Olympic weightlifting into CrossFit. And what I admire about CrossFitters is it's not only about one element, it's about everything. And that's why they're crowned the world's fittest. And I really admire them, because as somebody who competes, I know how difficult it is to get that balance between all the different realms of fitness. And I admire that. I admire the sport for that reason. And then when I read her book and I understood her journey a little bit more, I admired her. I admired her and her journey and what she'd been through even more. And what I liked about her initially, I guess, is she likes to be in the background. She doesn't really like to be in the spotlight too much. And that's why most people outside of CrossFit have never heard of her. And I like that, because that's me. You know, I'm not interested in being on the front cover of a magazine or anything like that. If I've won a trophy and it comes with it, then fine. But actually, other than that, just want a simple life. You know, I just want to do it for the joy of it and for the achievements that it will bring me, myself, and that's it, really.
Brilliant. So for the listeners, I'm wondering if you can have a little think there and share 3 takeaways from our conversation for them.
Yeah, you have put me on the spot. If you're gonna go into any sort of health journey, you've got to be consistent, and the only way to create consistency is to follow something that is sustainable to you. So don't go into a fad diet. Don't go into an intense training program. Don't follow somebody who is unrealistic to your goals and your lifestyle, because that is not consistency. And if you can't be consistent, you'll never get to where you want to be, because health and fitness it's a long game, and it's patience, and it's frustrating. But if you can create something that's sustainable and realistic to you and your lifestyle, the consistency will come, and it will be a lot more natural, which means you'll be able to do it for longer and get those results, and long-lasting results because of that. So that's one.
I like that. And I think that's brilliant. And that, regardless of whether it's health or fitness, I think that's sort of life in general, work, business, sport, whatever. It's very easy, especially today, to get distracted and reactive and I suppose chase the latest shiny thing.
Yeah, and on that note, we can only control so many things. So if we take the situation that's going on in the world right now with the global pandemic, we can't control that. We can only control how we react to it. So bringing it back to health and fitness, you can control what goes in your mouth. You can control what movement and how much movement you do every single day. And you can control how you think about yourself and your goal. And no matter what happens in the world, you will always be in control of those 3 things. And those 3 things are the only things that you need to get what you want in terms of health and fitness.
That's fantastic advice. I love that.
I've just done a rant about this on Facebook, so that was quite fresh. And the other thing is, if you have a goal and you're overwhelmed by it. So, for example, let's say you want to lose 3 stone. Think about it like this. Yeah, I've got 3 stone to lose, but rather than get overwhelmed about it, I'm going to lose the first kilo first. And then when I've done that, I'm just going to repeat what I did, and I'm going to lose another kilo. And if I can do that X amount of times and tick it off 1 kilo at a time, I'll get to my 3 stone without it feeling overwhelming. Like if you're going to save 3 grand in money, don't think about it as putting away 3 grand. Think about it as putting away £1 a day. You can put a £1 coin in a jar every single day. The likelihood is you're never going to have to take out of that jar, because it's a very small investment. Will it take you longer to get there? Probably. But will it be worth it? Definitely.
Wise words, that is, yeah. That's very much, it's like focusing on the process. I like to use, and sort of staying very present, isn't it? Just one step at a time.
Yeah. And, life is always going to happen. Life's not going anywhere. Life's going to happen. One day your kids are going to come home screaming for whatever reason. They're probably going to tell you you're a terrible parent for whatever reason. They're going to get home from school sick for whatever reason. One day your car's going to break down and your whole day is going to have gone to pot. One day someone's going to say something that you take to heart. Life is just going to happen. It is inevitable. So if it's going to happen, don't let it affect you with the things that you can control. Just go, well, I knew it was going to happen at some point, so now I'm just going to deal with it.
Great stuff. So we met at the Sports Business Club. Do you want to just tell the listeners a little bit about your ambassadorial role there?
Yes, definitely. So I am an ambassador for the Sports Business Club, and I'm very proud of that. The Sports Business Club is, our mission, if you like, is to raise money for grassroots sports in the UK. Hopefully, we're going to be expanding that to Europe at some point, and maybe even larger. But right now, we are running in the UK, and we're very new. We launched in September last year, so September 2020. And what we want to do is we want to, like I said, raise money for grassroots sports, but we want to be able to give people, kids and adults, the opportunity to have sport in their life at whatever level, to help them and give them the opportunity to keep moving in a fun way, in a sociable way, to a healthier lifestyle. And that could be something like a club that you go to for a five-a-side and it's just a kick around with your mates. But the mental health and the social aspect of that could be massive for some people. And then from a kid's perspective, it could be, my child just enjoys it. That's all. They haven't got any aspirations to be, the next David Beckham or anything like that. But they really enjoy it and it's really good for them. So we want them to have the opportunity to experience that at any level, at any age, without their parents or their own financial situation being the reason that they can't do it.
Yeah, it's certainly a life changer, isn't it, for lots of people, and such a positive scheme.
Yeah, definitely. I'm fully behind the work that they're doing. It's incredible.
And then, likewise, you as a personal trainer, do you want to just share with the listeners where people can find you if they want to reach out to you and have a conversation and learn more about your work?
Sure. I'm all over social media, so I apologise for that. My company is NH Personal Training, so pretty easy to remember, pretty easy to find me. I'm basically a no fluff personal trainer who just tells you the truth, because that's the fastest way to get you to your goal. And I deliver 2 completely free stretch classes every single week. One's on Facebook Live and one's on Instagram Live. And I welcome everybody to come to that. It's for any level. It's a great place to come and have a little bit of banter with other people. Great place to just relax and stretch your body in a very relaxing way, and even pick my brains and turn it into a bit of a Q&A, which is what some people do. I get people saying, oh, because I'm not on camera, I'm doing this in my pajamas. And then I get some people going, the kids are joining in with me today. There's a lot of banter that goes on in the chat box, which is lovely. And they are completely free. And then I've got my one-to-one personal training. So I've got my one-to-one coaching, which is on Zoom at the moment. And then I don't know whether I'll go back to face-to-face training. It just kind of depends on where my business is at. And right now it is online, which is fantastic because it means people don't have to be location dependent, which I love. And it's a great place for me to learn about other cultures as well, because I train a lot of people internationally. And the other option is, if you don't want or you don't need one-to-one coaching, I have an online fitness academy. And the online fitness academy is basically a one-stop shop that you can go to for everything you need. Everything you need fitness-wise, everything you need nutrition-wise. We have goal setting in there. We have monthly group trainings. We have monthly group Q&A sessions, coaching calls. There's a whole platform just for you in there. Some people come in and just use it for nutrition. Some people come in just use it for fitness. Some people come in and use it for the whole thing. And we've got a private community group where people can come in and air out their frustrations or their wins. And I'm a big fan of that. I'm a big fan of thinking you should celebrate a small win every single week because it helps keep you on track. And it's just a great place to be. So you can jump into the Fitness Academy and find me in there as well.
All right. Well, all of the different resources that you've shared there, I'll make sure in the show notes for the listeners. I'll be checking some of those out myself. Sound fantastic.
Definitely. And you are doing one of my challenges at the moment, aren't you?
I finished it yesterday.
Yeah.
I was going to say today's a rest day, but it hasn't been.
No. Well, what I do have as well is I have a 21-day at home to batter fitness challenge. So that might be something you want to have a look at.
I'll have a look at that one, definitely. Sounds good fun. I appreciate your time today. It's been great chatting to you, and you've shared some absolute gems for the listeners.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Not a problem. Much appreciated. I love that chat with Natalie. It was great to hear her enthusiasm and positivity about her sport and personal training, as well as the Sports Business Club. And I really wish Natalie well, whether that's in training or for her future endeavours. And I'm sure for you, the listener, you've picked up some wonderful gems of advice there. And speaking of gems of advice, go on, feel free to download the Focused Athlete Checklist. This is a free resource I've got on our website, and it's packed with information to be able to help you should you hit a wall, a roadblock, when you're presented with a challenge in your sport and you're knocked off track a little bit. Also, in the show notes, you'll find Natalie's contact details should you want to reach out to her. And lastly, as you'll be aware, this is episode 48. And for episode 50, as it's a special episode, I'm going to do something a little bit different. So watch this space. I'd like to give a big thanks to today's sponsors, Functional Intelligent Training, who are a sports injury clinic located in Gosforth, near Newcastle upon Tyne, and specialise in athlete development, nurturing future champions, strength and conditioning support, and excellent rehabilitation services. Thank you for listening to Demystifying Mental Toughness today. To sign up for tips and advice to help you be the best that you can be, go to www.sport-excellence.co.uk and sign up to the Mental Edge newsletter.